Hello everyone and welcome back. I am the Pumpkin King, and in today's episode we're going to be continuing our showcase series of the Jurassic World Evolution. Today we're going to be taking a look at the other half of Isla Sorna Island, which is Sorna 1993. Now I've themed this island so as to be a recreation of the Lost World Site B facility. And if we zoom on down to the ground here, and head over. I've actually studied the movie, I've looked at props, I've looked at all the rest of the stuff, and I feel like this is about as movie accurate as it comes. So this would be the building that Ian and Dr. Harding and Kelly all jump into to escape the raptors. Over on the other side is the gas station where Dr. Malcolm gets knocked through the glass door. And yeah, so I've decorated Site B to have a combination of the shale and these rough looking paths. And I have a lot of the InGen stuff around because the theming is that they reclaimed Site B and they have returned it to full functionality. We've got the geothermal power station there. We're just going to kind of zoom around on the ground a little bit. I tried to think about buildings that would make sense to have here that also fit aesthetically with the building. So if we look, there's the science center there. I've got an off-grid research center. We got a visitor center with the helicopter where they get the chopper after the end of the movie. And we also have the worker village, which is over here. Now, this I know never appeared in the movie. However, one of the things that I'm going to be doing with this island and also with Isla Nublar when we get there is I'm not doing a particular aspect of it. And what I mean by that is Isla Sorna isn't just Site B. It was represented in the Lost World book as well as the Lost World Jurassic Park movie and Jurassic Park 3. And I'm using a combination of all of those things to make the most realistic park, even if it isn't the most photo accurate. And the reason I'm doing that is because the photo park, actually the park that they used in the movie for Isla Sorna, is very inconsistent. And we saw that a lot at Isla Nublar too. So I have on Isla Sorna two tour rides where you can tour the Site B and Isla Sorna 93. So let's go ahead and jump onto the first one here. We're now entering into our first enclosure, which is the Stegosaurus. So I've themed this area to look like the original scene. Woo! Okay. It's all right. The vehicles are invulnerable. Okay, so I've themed this area to look like the very first scene when they arrive on Isla Sorna in the Lost World Jurassic Park. And they come through that valley with all of the ferns, and the Stegosaurus come out of the woods and attack Sarah Harding. Once again, I am using a lot of mods for this series. The foliage that you're seeing here is actually one of the mods that I downloaded that introduces, I think, 90 pieces of foliage from Planet Zoo, and it makes all of the difference. And I love that I was able to get my hands on some of this. It looks pretty good, too. One thing I've been trying to do with this particular island is I wanted to recreate the scenes from the movie as thoroughly as possible. So I'm trying to have the exact same kind of shots and angles that they have in the movie, the same sort of viewpoints and the film accurate representations. What that means, though, is that because the dinosaurs here are completely happy and content, they just kind of mill around. They're not like knocking over stuff or setting things on fire. which is a good thing from a park management standpoint, but not so great from a recreating the the Lost World Jurassic Park movie. If we take a look over on the other side, you get a nice view of that waterfall over there. Like, Sorna 93 is a weird island because it's kind of sort of brass knuckles shape or like a wonky bow tie. But it does have some nice views, I will say that. All right, we're now coming into the second section of the park. We're going to be coming now into the game trails scene from the Lost World Jurassic Park. I do have all the movie-accurate dinosaurs in here. That is the Parasaurolophus, Pachycephalosaurus, Gallimimus, Corythosaurus, Mamenchisaurus. And if we look out the window here, I've actually tried to set it up exactly like in the movie from the vantage point and using the trees to get it photorealistic. Now, obviously, I am somewhat limited. I can't make the grassland all yellow and withered like it was in the movie, so it doesn't really translate. And the dirt doesn't really look as good. But this is the exact site right here. This is where, in the movie, the heroes are sitting on top and watching everybody ride by with the motorcycles and everything and chasing down the dinosaurs, including
the one with the big red horn, the pompadour, Albert.
For this ride, I've actually tried to keep everything in chronological order too, so after we go from the game trail, the next section of the park is going to be the camp, where they were doing the scene where Nick Van Owen and Sarah Harding were freeing the dinosaurs and they ran amok and destroyed all of the InGen stuff. And this one, I actually had a lot of trouble recreating because there's not really a lot in the way of clear footage from that. But in here I have Struthiomimus, Triceratops, and Compsognathus. And we got these Triceratops that are smashing through the camp. So over on the right, these tents are the outskirts of the camp. The heroes would have been up on the hill, up above to the left. And then the tent over here would be Peter Ludlow's tent. And I've played around with some dramatic lighting using some of the sign points in here in order to be able to get some of the simulated fire. I thought, and what I might do for some of the stills is I might come through with a Jeep and pop down some flares to get the screenshots. The area with the cages would have been a lot bigger in the movie, but I was somewhat limited by the space. Because again, Sorna 93 is a very weird, wonky shape. Of course, from here, we go into the long grass.
Not into the long grass!
And this is where we have our Velociraptor enclosure. Now, unfortunately, I can't have the raptors without fences because they will escape and get into the park and kill everybody just like in the movie. So, just to use your imagination, these fences aren't here. This grass is a lot longer. But we have 6 Velociraptors in here. I have 3 of the 1997 Velociraptors and 3 of the 2001 Velociraptors. I have to say what you like about Jurassic Park 3, but they had the best raptors. That was the Stan Winston School at its absolute best, y'all. And I'm not saying anything bad about the 97 Tiger Raptors either. I mean, look at these guys. Raptors. And in proper Velociraptor fashion, they are attacking the van.
Velociraptors are well known in the fossil record. One famous fossil features the raptor frozen in combat.
Look at them attack.
Triceratops.
Yeah, get it. Get it, girl. Like I said, the vehicles are invincible, so it doesn't matter, but I'm just going to pretend that what they're eating over there is Ajay. the character who had the worst character design of anyone in any of the Jurassic franchise. Because, let's put it this way. From a character design perspective, Ajay was a terrible character. Not because he was unlikable or unrelatable. It was fine. But it was mostly because he looked exactly like Peter Ludlow and people got them confused all the time. From a character design perspective, that's a big no-no. So anyway, here I'm trying to recreate the scene where they travel between the ribs of the dinosaurs and then the stanchions in order to get into Site B. Get some more of that beautiful decoration in. I love these containers and crates and stuff. It's great. Now, if you're wondering about the concrete wall, this wasn't in the movie, but it was described in the book. The Site B had a stone wall around the entire enclosure, around the entire facility. So that's why I've got the concrete wall here. All right. So that's the first of our Jurassic tours. And that handled 1997. Let's go do the second one. And this handles 2001. Okay. Going to be coming up on our first enclosure. I have the Ceratosaurus as a sort of bridge. It's meant to be seen after the Spinosaurus and Tyrannosaurus, but you know, I can only do so much. Like I say, the island is a weird and wonky shape. I would like to have put them in chronological order, but you're just going to have to take it this way. There's a good chance we won't... Oh, nope, there it is. Anyway, so this is the Ceratosaurus. I've got these big rocks to stand in for the piles of Spinosaur poop. If you remember from the movie, the Ceratosaurus was in there for all of about a minute and a half. It smelled everybody digging through the Spinosaur poop. Was like, what? What the hell are you guys doing? Why do you smell like shit? And then walked off. Now, apparently, it was in there and was originally intended to be a Carnotaurus. But they changed it to Ceratosaurus because they didn't want to get sued by Disney because the design for their Carnotaurus was almost exactly like the one from Disney's Dinosaur, which came out the same year. So we're now getting into the Jurassic World Park 3 part of the tour. And as we come around the corner, excuse me. As we come around the corner, over here on the left, these are Tarbosaurus. They are not Tyrannosaur. As I said, there will only be one T-Rex. That's going to be on Isla Nublar, and that is Rexy. But that's Tarbosaurus over there. I have a nest set up just exactly like they had in Jurassic Park 3. But the good news is that my Tarbosaurus will never get killed by the Spinosaur like a punk bitch. Speaking of the Spinosaur, we're now coming into the Spinosaur area. Here again, I am somewhat limited because I needed to provide enough wetland to keep the Spinosaur happy, but I wanted it to look as much as possible like the scene where the Spinosaur comes out of the trees and chases them through this fence before they get to the aviary. Now, two things that bother me about that scene. First, they were able to hear the Spinosaurus whenever it walked because it would shake the ground like the T-Rex, but they didn't hear it when it snuck up on them out of the trees. And two, they heard the satellite phone, right? The Kirby Grit Tile Press Westgate, which is super annoying that I remember that, but they heard the satellite phone and then they were there and saw the Spinosaur. One, how the hell are you getting signal inside the belly of a dinosaur? Two, 2, how is that thing not digested by now? And 3, how are you able to hear the phone inside a dinosaur from that far away? It's ridiculous. Like, I'm not apologizing for it. Jurassic Park 3 is a pretty crap movie, man, but it at least has good raptors, which is about the only nice thing I can say for it, really. The aviary is here. You can't really see it too well from here. We're too close. I wanted it to simulate like you were going through the aviary, but it doesn't really read. But if you watch the movie, they go from the Spinosaurus encounter with the satellite phone to the aviary, so I put it pretty close by as time and space would allow. The Spinosaurus would be right here, facing Alan and Eric, and it would then chase them along and crash into the fence here, and then they would escape and get into the sort of shed thing, which we don't have a building equivalent for before going into the aviary. Sort of shed thing, which we don't have a building equivalent for before going into the aviary. Now you may notice there are no pteranodons in my aviary, and that's because it has no power or path. It is strictly decorative. Coming over here, this is where I've attempted to recreate the fight scene between the Tyrannosaur and the Spinosaur. Like I said, you can see we have 2 meat feeders in here, and not often, because usually the Spinosaur likes to eat the fish feeder, but every once in a while, they'll both be in the same area at the same time, and they'll eat and kind of growl at each other. And then over here, we have the T-Rex nest. That's a beautiful looking Tarbosaurus, and actually, this is a pretty nice shot. So I'm going to grab a screen cap here. That's our thumbnail, I believe. Anyway, so that's one Tarbosaurus. And I have another one wandering around somewhere. I had to modify their genome so that they would be okay with having 2. They usually are not particularly social. And I did try to get the coloration as close as possible to the to the 2001 T-Rex. It didn't really work out because, you know, it's a modded skin, but I am pretty happy with it anyway. All right, we're going to see the Ceratosaur again. I have a feeder over near those 2 piles of rocks in the hopes that it'll come out of the woods like it does in the movie, eat, look up, and then walk back into the woods again. But, you know, these are living things. They're not audio animatronics, and they don't necessarily cooperate with park schedules or, you know, perimeter fences and boundaries and so forth. They don't always behave the way you want them to, put it that way. This is actually kind of important because on Isla Nublar, I have several dinosaur rides that I plan on doing. The more of those will be coming down the line soon. But, like I say, you know, they're not audio animatronics. You can't necessarily control where the dinosaurs are going to be at any particular time. So you just have to kind of roll with the punches, and that might mean that when you go on Dinosaur, like at Animal Kingdom, Disney's Animal Kingdom, you don't see any of the dinosaurs. It's just how it is sometimes. I try to design the enclosure so that that's not a problem, but, you know, like I say, they move around. They're autonomous animals. So here, I'm trying something out. This is something I want to practice with on Isla Nublar too. I'm kind of running the tour vehicle as if it was a boat. And this was the scene in Jurassic Park 3 where they would be rafting down the river on the boat after escaping the Spinosaur. and the ceratosaur. Don't kick my vehicle, dude. There we go. Okay. And they'd see the ankylosaurs and the brachiosaur and the stegosaurus and the parasaurolophus drinking from the river. These are all the 2001 skins, by the way. Now look at those 2001 brachiosaurs. I have to say, the brachiosaurs from Jurassic Park 3 were not impressive to me. The color scheme was cool. It looked like something that you would use to sell toys, but it's not. I don't really like it as much as the 97 and 93 brachiosaurs. By the way, we have screen accurate number of dinosaurs in here. I have 3 brachiosaurs, 4 parasaurolophus, 6 stegosaurus, and 2 ankylosaurs. One thing that having the food and stuff on the other side does sponsor is that the dinosaurs will cross your path quite a bit. As a result, it does make for an exciting tour. It also means that there is a very good possibility that you might be sitting around waiting for a little while the dinosaur decides to move out of your way. Like this brachiosaur, for example. It's kind of booking it over to the feeder right now, so it might be okay, but then again, it might not. There you go. So, that is Isla Sorna 1993. In our next episode, we're going to be taking on the next island. We're going to be going to Isla Pena, the little pena in the ass. And we'll be checking that one out, and then probably Tacanho and Muerta after that. But until next time, I am the Pumpkin King, and I will see you next time.